Well, welcome to Celebrate Aging. I'm Vicki Marthaler, your hostess today, and with me I have Dorothy Havercamp. And Dorothy is not only a co-worker here at Emmanuel, but she's been a good friend of mine for a number of years as we both go to the same church.
Great.
So Dorothy, welcome to Celebrate Aging, and one of the reasons we call our 10 minutes Celebrate Aging is because we work on celebrating life around here at Emmanuel.
That's for sure.
And I think you have great testimony as to that very fact. So we're going to just talk with Dorothy a little bit, and she is an employee here, and you are part-time.
Mm-hmm.
So
For over 11 years.
For over 11 years. Mm-hmm. Now your mother was here at one time.
For 7 years she was here.
7 years. So that's how you kind of really got to know a little bit more about Emmanuel.
Yes. Well, before that, my mother-in-law was here for 8 years.
Oh my!
So I've been around here for some time.
So you've seen a lot of changes in all of those. I'd have to add 8, 7, 11. That's way too much adding in the morning.
She came in 1970.
Wow.
And my mother came in 1996.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then when did you start working here?
1999, April 13th.
April 13th, right before because I remember her mom's birthday is my birthday, so I know that's April 14th.
Right.
So why did you decide to start working here?
Well, about the first 3 years I was with my mother, she knew so many people here. So I would take her around to different rooms and we'd sit and visit. And then I'd take my mom back to her room. And I just got to thinking, this is kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And then when Marnie was here, this job came up, and I don't remember how I heard about it, but I thought, I'd like to try that.
And so you applied, and
I applied, and I'm still here.
You're still here. You're a good fit. You are a good fit.
I like it.
I know. Now, we're not supposed to ask a woman her age, but I'd like people to know how old you are.
77.
77. Mm-hmm. So you started in your late 60s then. Mm-hmm. Now, most people think that's retirement age, but you've kind of made a second career going on here.
I enjoy it, and as long as I can keep up with what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. So you work in the activity department.
I work in the
That's the fun part. That's the fun part, yes. Mm-hmm. But in the morning you come and you help with breakfast, because there are some people who need help with breakfast. And so do you like help the same person every morning, or?
I usually do.
Okay. Which makes connections.
That's right. That's right.
And I think we were talking about how important that is to make connections with people.
Yeah, absolutely. You bet. They can relate to you a little bit, and you can relate to them. And there's one lady that she loves the program Ellen and Price is Right. But to remember that it's 07 on the TV,
on her TV,
is kind of hard. So I make sure she's got 07 on by 9 o'clock in the morning.
So you have the mental note for her.
Oh, yeah. Might as well.
Might as well. Well, we were talking about some of the people your favorite activity is one-on-ones.
Right.
And a one-on-one means you go to somebody's room and you visit with them and see how things are going. And you were sharing a couple of stories. Why don't you tell about the old farmer that had the one-word answers?
Yeah. Well, he always had just one. I'd say, were you a farmer? Yep. Did you have cattle or grain or what was it? Both. And it was just kind of, I couldn't get through to him for some reason. But you know, you take a bachelor who's been all his life, and you're surrounded by women, it's bound to be different. You know?
Kind of intimidating for him.
So anyway, he one day I saw on the wall, he had this homestead from his grandparents that was signed by Benjamin Harrison. And I said, tell me about this. And that started our connection.
Floodgate opened and you got to hear stories.
It was it's really nice. And a lot of these people have a story that we can learn. And if I can make them smile, or if I can make them laugh, or whatever,
That's your
that
goal.
makes my day.
That makes your day.
That's right.
We're looking for the goals. We're looking for the goals. And
That's
that
right.
is it.
That's right.
Make those connections. So when you, so like for the bachelor farmer person, you had to kind of search a little bit. What if somebody can't talk? Then what do you do?
I had that problem one time too.
Okay.
This fellow was in here, and he couldn't really speak. And his mother had asked me if I would please read the devotions to him every day.
Oh, okay.
And I did. And some days I'd come in and he'd just go, "Get away from me."
Okay, so he'd make facial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he, I told him, I said, "You know what? Your mom said,
Oh,
so I'm going to read your devotions."
poor guy.
And he was fine with that.
Yes.
He was fine with that. And I can remember one day he said 3 words to me.
Oh.
And I said, "Okay, that's good. I'll be right back." And I went out in the hall and cried.
I bet you did.
But he did say
Oh.
some more words to a nurse later, too. And that made my day,
Yeah.
big time.
That is
Even though I was sad.
And
It's
so
still
every day you'd read to him, and one time you got
a response.
a response. But that is part of celebrating, and we never know, especially if people have brain injury or a diagnosis that is incapacitating them. We
Right.
never know when that day will be.
That's right.
And how much is going in and how much they're processing. Awesome.
Yeah. And just different ones, they become family.
They do become family. I think another gift you bring is you're kind of a Detroit Lakes native, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
And so you
I go back a long way.
But when people do end up here when they come and make Emmanuel their home, you can connect with them on businesses, and maybe you knew their families in some way or connected. And I know your mom and dad had a store. Tell us about that store.
It was out on the east side of Lake Melissa. They had it for 37 years.
What was it called?
Art Johnson Store.
The Art Johnson Store.
Art Johnson Store. Yeah.
Now, do you remember the Art Johnson Store? The one story I hear is that there was always a big stack of bananas.
The tree.
The tree.
The banana tree.
Yes.
That hung from the ceiling.
And that made it rather fascinating all by itself.
And he didn't ever advertise because his advertising was word of mouth with big ice cream cones.
Big ice cream cones. So does anybody have that memory? And I also was told that the store had the telephone.
Long distance telephone.
A long distance telephone. So that
In the very early years.
Yes.
Yes. And then when he moved the store across the road, then they put in a telephone booth. But
my goodness, upscale or what?
oh yeah,
Out there on the east side of Melissa.
it was nice. It was fun. I was lucky to be born into the parents that I had.
Yes.
And they had me knowing then that I should respect my elders. And so maybe that's why I'm here.
Maybe that's why you're here. But I also know that you just love to hear people's stories.
I do.
And you are good to try to keep at it, like with the bachelor farmer. You had to go in a couple of times.
More than a couple. It works.
And then Dorothy found out, of course, that this homesteaded land was up by Thief River Falls and
By Winger,
By
actually.
Winger, and you, when you went to visit your daughter when she lived at Thief River, she drove by the farm, so you could always come back and
Tell them about the farm.
that it was still looking
I
good.
went by and it was there. It was good.
Well, we're all about making connections here at Emmanuel, and I want you to know that if you're in retirement age and thinking, well, I guess I just have to sit around now for the rest of my life, that is not true. And that you can come to Emmanuel and let's see if we can't make a good fit for you. Maybe you'd like to hear a few stories or have stories to tell yourself. We've got something worth celebrating around here.
You bet. You bet.
So, Emmanuel, celebrate aging. Dorothy's celebrating. I'm celebrating. Come and join us. We'd love to have you.